Hey, what up squad? It's me, your boy, sitting here. And today I thought we'd talk about or take a look about combo... Yeah, good intro. So we're gonna take a look at combo decks, which are those fun decks where you have something like a win condition, a clear plan, a combination of cards, something that is supposed to happen in order for you to win the game. And I hand selected all the combos I did in the past so I don't have to record them extra. And we're gonna talk about them because maybe you will find a combo deck that is quite interesting for you as well. Now, I gotta be honest, I play Hearthstone way too much, and the game becomes a little bit stale over time. If all you do is win, that's getting kinda boring. Like, I can play Rogue and go face, that we can all do that. You can play Demon Hunter and go face, that's the same as Rogue. Usually when I try to make a combo work, it takes between like 1 and 2 hours. And that is because some combos are really bad, they are terribly bad. But they feel so rewarding when you pull them off. If you have the deck ready and you know how the combo works, you should be able to pull this off within like 5 games or so. We're going to jump into gameplay, I will explain to you how the combo works, and maybe you find something that you would like to play as well. Not a single deck card is going to be down below, just so you know. Combo number 1. So for the first combo, we got, I think it's called Cloud Shaman, or Maximus Shaman. So what you do in there is, you get overloaded, or play an elemental, you reduce the cost of the stuff in your hand, you use your double hero power, use Grumble, get your stuff back, and then aim at the enemy's face. Which means you can deal like 40 damage with not too much setup. What you need for that is a Harbinger though. You need this elemental thingy, so your minions cost 1 mana to start with. You can actually win quite fast with that. You need to wait until like turn 8 or 9 usually, but sometimes you just have lethal on like turn 7. The deck was better than I expected when I played that. Not the best one, but you can aim face. Next, we get a really complicated combo. There's this one minion called Terma Plug, which every single time that an enemy minion dies, summons a Leper Gnome. So what you do is you give your opponent a Grim Patron, which then means every single time a Patron dies when you cast the file, there's going to be a Leper Gnome summoned on your side. And every single time a Leper Gnome dies, the enemy takes 2 damage. So in short, you need like, I don't know, 58 mana for that. I think I used Galvanizers to reduce the cost, and then also double Emperor ticks, but it's the same as playing something like a Blood Troll Sapper, which we will take a look at next, just more complicated. What I tried to do with that combo was using an old card, an old legendary that nobody plays in anything, and making it somehow work in a deck. So if you do happen to play during GVG and open Terma Plug, you could try this combo, but it takes a long time to set up. To make the Grim Patron combo a little bit easier, as just mentioned, you can use Grim Patron on your own side of the field, and play a minion that is called Blood Troll Sapper. You also got that immune, and it has the effect that it deals 2 damage to the enemy's face whenever a friendly minion dies. So all you gotta do is use the file, watch how the entire board gets cleared over and over, there are more and more patrons that get in here, and every single time they die, you deal 2 damage to the enemy's face. That only takes 2 Emperor ticks and is not too hard to set up, so even if your opponent has like triple Nosdomu and a bunch of Sandstorm effects, it doesn't affect it too much. Pretty fun combo for Warlock because nobody ever plays around that. Most people would assume if you play the quest and have that hero power, that you play something like Mechathin. By the way, if you play Warlock deck and you have that quest in there to get the hero power, it's only so that you potentially use it and draw one of the combo pieces and save the Emperor turn. Every single time you play Emperor and Drakari to reduce the entire hand by 2 mana, you're pretty much vulnerable for the entire turn. And if you face an aggressive deck, they will just kill you. Now we have a combo that involves Lawwalker Cho. Lawwalker Cho is not a good minion, because it's just not. You give your opponent a spell, or you take the enemy's spell. But what you do in here is, you play double Radiant Elemental, you play Lawwalker Cho, and you use triple Mind Blast, so you deal 15 damage face, and then you use Mind Render Elucia and take the enemy's hand. Which then means you take all the 3 Mind Blasts you just gave to your opponent back, and then you cast them again, which will deal a total of 30 damage. It was pretty interesting because Lawwalker Cho is not used in anything. Usually you only play that minion when you play against your second account and try to set up some meme. But in that combo, he's actually useful. Have you ever seen Frozen Crusher? That 6 mana 8 minion? It's pretty bad, but it has stats. So what I thought about doing is, how can I use those stats to deal damage? We gave opponent Wrathguard, which deals damage to the enemy's face whenever it gets attacked. Give our Frozen Crusher a bunch of stats, play Brian and Ratcatcher to take all those stats on Ratcatcher, which is Rush, and then we rush into Wrathguard. You can now use also Soulbound Ash Tongue, I think it's called, to do the exact same thing, minus 1 mana, but rushing into Wrathguard or that is pretty satisfying and deals tons of damage. Uther of the Ebon Blade, it's a pretty simple combo. All you gotta do is, when you are an Uther, and you have the hero power to summon all 4 horsemen, you will summon Auctionmaster Beto, have a couple coins in hand, and then use your hero power. All you need to do is have Auctionmaster Beto at like 2 mana, or have a coin in hand, Because your hero power will take 8 mana in total. Coin or 0 mana spells are obviously free. Due to Librams, you can always use Libram of Wisdom and then just get that fairly easily. During the last expansion, there was one specific combo that I thought about could work, and that included Morocc Artificial. This minion doubles all the damage minions take on the field. So if you give your opponent Wrathguard or Ashtongue Soulbound thingy, and then you summon a giant and then you Shadow Flame that giant, the minion doesn't take 8 or 16 or 32 damage, but 64. Which, because the damage is dealt to the enemy's face, is lethal. Also, takes a long time to set up. I had to be in fatigue I think like 3 times when I played that, but it's satisfying when it happens. In Jute we get an Aviana Kun combo. You can do like 20 different combos playing Aviana Kun. And this is not even the most complicated one. But I went for 6 times Ragnaros. So what you're doing here is, you play Aviana, Innervate Kun, have 10 mana crystals, and then all your minions cost 1 mana. You summon a Ragnaros, cube that Ragnaros, summon copies of that cube twice, and then you play Deathwing, which means every minion on the field is going to be destroyed, and every single cube that you just destroyed when you set out the field spawns to Ragnaros, which leaves you with 6 in total. And 6 in total means you deal a bunch of damage, 48. Unless your opponent has a bunch of death little minions that all summon more stuff, or they have Iceblock up, there's nothing they can do to prevent this from happening. And you can use Ragnaros and Deathwing, so that's a good combo. Some people consider this card to be the worst in the game. It's called Desert Obelisk. The minion has the effect that if you have 3 of those at the end of your turn, you deal 5 damage randomly, per Obelisk. So what you do is, you play Quest Mage to gain the extra turn reward, play Vargheth to have 2 extra turns, summon a Desert Obelisk, and play a potion to get it back for 1 mana. Vargheth is going to recast a spell for the potion, which will make it so that you can play another normal Obelisk, 2 more of them, and then a Drakari Enchanter. So every single end of turn effect is going to trigger twice. Which means if you have 5 Obelisks, they deal 5 damage each, 25 damage, and if you have Drakari, you deal 50 damage. That is really complicated though, and didn't work a single time on ladder. You will need to face something like a really control-heavy Dark or Priest for that to work, but it's stupid enough to include here. In Rogue we get a fairly fast combo. You can win as early as turn 7 with that. What you gotta do is you gotta play Galakrond so you can invoke it, and then eventually play either Bran or Spirit of the Shark, which makes it so that you gain not just 3 but 6 coins when you play Umbral Stalker. Now you can also Shadow Step the Stalker, so you get the coins back. At the end of this combo you're going to play the Spectral minion, which deals 1 damage for each card you played. And because of the Bran or Shark effect, you're going to deal that twice. Now, if your opponent has Ice Block, you might just quit the game because that's some BS, but usually you win. Now you can play Malagos and Valen and Mind Blast, and that is all fun and games in Priest. What about you play Malagos, give it Death Rattle, that it's going to be resummoned twice, and then you use a card called Shadowy Figure, which becomes a copy of a friendly Death Rattle minion. You then use Spirit Lash in order for your Malagos to die, so you can summon 6 of them in total, and then you use Holy Ripple, which will deal a total of 31 damage. Not that it's far worse than Mind Blast, but it works, and it's funny, and really hard to set up. For a fun combo that you can do quite early in the game, what you're doing here is you give your opponent Fel Reaper, and then you play a bunch of cards, because every single time you play a card, your opponent discards 3 cards from the deck. Which then means if you play a bunch of cards back to back to back, they're going to burn their entire deck, which is sometimes just 6 or 9 cards, but if you play it quite early, it can be up to 15. I enjoy playing this a lot, especially when your opponent has no board, no deck, and 1 card in hand. To bring back something like a fan favorite, this is I think the only deck Crip played when he played Wild. Play the quest, gain 2 extra turns due to Vargheth, and then you summon not just to max but also Mimiron's Hat, which makes it so that you can summon Voltron, or the VO7LTR, yes. The Giant Wind Fury minion. And when you summon the Giant Wind Fury minion, you can either summon a copy of the Giant Wind Fury minion, you can use Crazed Alchemist and make it a 8-4 instead of a 4-8, so you deal 64 damage in total. As you can tell on the rank, I haven't done that in quite some time, but this is so rewarding to pull off. 100% my favorite combo you can do in Mage. That and 60 Swords of Wonders, which is a very similar setup though. This is my favorite combo in Warlock. It's called Highkeeper Ra. When you have 7 Mogul Cultists on the field, you are going to summon a giant minion that is going to deal 20 damage at the end of your turn. Now, you used to do that by giving your opponent a generous mummy, which makes it so all your cards, all your Echo cards, cost 0 mana, but they nerfed Echo when they nerfed Snip Snap, so your Echo minions have to cost 1 mana. So now do it a little bit differently. You still play Glinda, destroy Glinda, summon Highkeeper Ra, shuffle him into your deck, and then use the quest hero power as well as Tour Guide to draw it for free, so you can deal 40 damage as an OTK. And lastly, the combo I hated the most. I pulled this off exactly once on ladder, and I couldn't find the clip. It is Octosary. Now you can do an Octosary OTK. you again need 2 Emperor ticks, and you need double Treachery and Baron Rivendare. When Octosary dies, it draws 8 cards. And when it dies with a double Death Rattle effect, it is going to draw 16 cards. Now, you don't want to draw any cards because you're in fatigue anyways, but you want to give it to your opponent, so then it just burn a bunch of cards, but usually end up being in fatigue. From all the combo decks I ever played, I think this one was by far the most complicated I ever tried to pull off, as it is just so incredibly hard to find an opponent that plays with you until fatigue, because usually it takes up until that point for you to get all the combo pieces and to make that happen. If you're kinda bored on Hearthstone or you don't know what to play, maybe one of those combos inspires you to achieve your dreams and crush your goals, or to just win in a fun way. After I won like 20,000 games in total, just winning normally is kinda been there, done that. But playing an interesting combo deck, that's fun, because it is at least something new. Now, if you liked and hated those combos, either of those two, wanna leave a like, it's free, and it's only 1 click away. My name is Solem. We stream on Twitch every now and then, not that consistently right now, but sometimes. And like all the clips in this video, if you're on Twitch and you say something in chat, you might see yourself in a video at some point. Have a good day and take care.